This, and I think it'll surprise people. The fact that his bond.
Hold on, sir.
What's
I have to stop you with the camera because I can see you. So do me a favor, don't pull it out again.
And The View, you don't need to find Trumpers. You need to fire your race baiters.
Yeah.
You need to fire the two races. You've had people. You had a McCain on there. You've had people on there before, and you ran them off. So the racist ones who want to stick to this, Whoopi and Sonny, and the was it Bette Midler? What's her name? Yeah, broke ass Bette.
Tyrus just did what no one else had the courage to do. He called out The View, and yes, even Whoopi Goldberg wasn't spared. It was like watching a sumo wrestler crash a tea party and flip the whole table. Things got funny, messy, and downright wild. You won't believe what he said or how Whoopi reacted. Grab your popcorn, because this one's pure chaos mixed with comedy. But seriously, did Tyrus just shut down The View with one comment?
Remember, too, the Iranians literally throw gay people off of buildings. They don't adhere to basic human rights.
Listen, here's the thing. Let's not do that, because if we start with that, we have been known in this country to tie gay folks to the car.
Where the Iranian regime is today, is nothing compared to the United States.
Hanging black people. So
it is not even the same. I couldn't step during this.
Tyrus, the weird thing about The View was that Dylan Mulvaney was the most feminine person there.
Yes, he was.
Before we move on, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, because you definitely don't want to miss this one. It started like any other morning on The View, 5 women trying to out-talk each other, coffee cups shaking, and Whoopi Goldberg sitting there like she's seen it all. You could almost hear the chaos building even before the cameras started rolling. Then came Tyrus, not in person, but his words hit that studio harder than a truth bomb dropped in a room full of echo chambers.
Only in America can a black person sit on a TV show getting paid millions and millions of dollars to have the floor and can say, it can interrupt people, because she interrupted her.
Yeah.
And if according to her, life was like in Iran, it was for black people, her interrupting and speaking in public would have led to a stoning.
Yeah.
Like the ignorance, you live in a country where you might feel a certain way, but here's the one thing about America that makes it different than anyone else. You have an opportunity, even as dumb as the.
He didn't raise his voice or roll his eyes. He just did what Tyrus does best. Calmly took apart the circus with the same tone you'd use to order lunch. The man gave off pure, I'm not impressed energy, and that's exactly what The View couldn't handle. Because when Tyrus talks, he doesn't chase drama, he makes it chase him.
And bring people in. Maybe you could get McCain to come back. She was a Republican, but every show and every break, she was nearly in tears because she was being attacked. So the problem is that you have to go after the racist people. And if be the CEO goes, you know what, I'm not going to allow a woman on my show, or man, that will go after white America and talk about them like dogs. That doesn't represent our ideals or values for anyone. And get rid of those people, and this will clear up real quick. So do you have to actually look in the mirror and clean up your own backyard and get the racist people out? Because that's who you allowed in. You allowed black racists on TV who could just go all day and say anything.
And The View, oh, they chased him like a bad idea that just wouldn't quit. You see, the show has built an empire out of interruptions, contradictions, and acting like they discover the truth every single weekday. It's less of a talk show and more like a verbal WWE match, just with more coffee and fewer clear thoughts.
She has an opportunity tomorrow. They won't fire her over that.
No.
She'll have an opportunity tomorrow to come on and fix it. Will she? She won't. But that's the thing about this country. Black, white, gay, straight, short, tall. Everyone's going to get hit with something, but the beauty about this country is there's always an opportunity for you to better yourself. So shame on you, Whoopi. Play the black card somewhere else, because the don't work here in America.
Yeah. You know the irony?
And then there's Whoopi, the grand referee of chaos. She stays calm in the storm until the storm says something she doesn't like. Then, suddenly, the calm disappears, and we're in full Category 5 judgment mode. She gives that look, the one that says, "You're about to regret your entire opinion."
And I guess lo and behold, they forgot that there's a lot of people at home, white people at home during the day that are not watching your show anymore. So just clean it up.
Yeah, you know, Emily, could you imagine yourself on The View as like taking that job? Let's say they find something really ugly in your past, you get fired from Fox. That could happen, by the way. No. I never burned those photos. But I mean, could you do that?
I get very sensitive.
Tyrus saw right through it and called it out with that calm, confident smirk of a man who's already predicted every move before it happens. He pointed out how The View can go from preaching unity to dividing everyone faster than you can say commercial break.
Sure, all that, and the price of butter. Sunny gets the game ball. If it wasn't for her, asking that question, it might have been
The beauty of it all was in the delivery. No shouting, no drama, no over-the-top gestures, just dry humor and truth so sharp you could shave with it. While the panel on The View probably saw themselves as the guardians of modern wisdom, Tyrus treated their self-importance like a bad comedy sketch. He leaned back, at least metaphorically, and said, "Really? This is what passes for conversation now?" The irony is that The View has been trying to be the voice of reason for years, but every episode feels more like a group chat that escaped its phone. When Tyrus broke down that dynamic, it wasn't just funny, it was brutally honest. He compared their energy to people who claim to love debate, but only when everyone agrees with them. You know the type they call it discussion until someone disagrees, then suddenly it's dangerous rhetoric. Tyrus didn't have to say it outright, his tone said everything. And that's what makes him a threat to shows like The View. He doesn't play their game or crave applause, he just drops truth so dry it sets itself on fire. People joke that Tyrus did more damage with one calm sentence than an entire season of heated debates. Whoopi, of course, wasn't thrilled, but the thing is, you can't lecture someone who's immune to nonsense.
Yeah, Whoopi's right. I mean, it's been rough for us. I mean, you saw what just happened to me in the last segment. I'm trying to talk, and all the white people are like, "Oh, it's Tyrus. I can make a phone call." You know? And it's.
How did that make you feel?
I felt very black.
Did you feel black?
Yeah,
it's worth Tyrus. Malice just started
Yes.
snapping
By the way,
his fingers for
thank
you.
God black people don't do that in audiences.
yes, yeah. No, we just talk the whole time and tell you how to do your show better.
Tyrus has that veteran energy. He's been around too long to take a TV argument seriously. He's basically saying, "You can't cancel me, I already left the chat." And that kind of calm confidence drives people like Whoopi crazy. Her attitude through it all was classic part authority, part exhaustion, like someone who's been explaining the same thing since 1997 and still can't believe people disagree. But Tyrus wasn't disrespectful, and that's what made it sting even more. He didn't yell or insult, he simply pointed out how ridiculous things had become. He treated their self-importance like a balloon that just needed a pin and pop it went. He called out how The View can spend half an hour arguing about things that don't matter while pretending it's world-changing television. It's like watching philosophers debate over brunch, only everyone's quoting Twitter instead of Aristotle. The longer he spoke, the clearer it became that this wasn't personal. It was about exposing the echo chamber disguised as empowerment, the fake outrage, and the moral showboating dressed up as discussion. Whoopi, of course, took it personally, because in that moment, Tyrus wasn't just talking about The View, he was describing its core. The unspoken rule that whoever talks the loudest must be right. But Tyrus, calm as a monk in a thunderstorm, didn't bite. He just smiled metaphorically, of course, and reminded everyone that real confidence doesn't need a co-host.
When it comes to mine, I was like, Ching, listen, they're bitter, they're angry, they're entitled. They also should be. This should have been a reset for everyone who pushed lies and misinformation for the last. They call them Hitler, they call these things. America rejected them. And instead of coming back and saying, we lied, they instead are now doubling down. So let her keep doing it, because if she keeps that up, we're going to keep getting the Senate and probably the House and the White House, because people see right through your lies. So keep doing what you're doing. Game ball to Sunny.
Then the internet exploded. Some said he was too harsh, while others thought he was just brave enough to say what everyone else was thinking. But the funniest part was that The View didn't even realize how perfectly they proved his point. The next day, the panel couldn't resist responding. Suddenly, they were the victims of unfair criticism, twisting themselves into philosophical pretzels, trying to defend their chaos as structure. It was like watching someone argue that their cat deserves a driver's license, entertaining but completely delusional. Tyrus knew exactly what he was doing. He dropped his words like breadcrumbs and let their reactions write the punchlines. And while Whoopi kept that air of superiority, the whole "we don't need to explain ourselves" attitude, the internet made sure she did. Every clip, every side-eye, every contradiction was blown up. That's the thing about The View. It's a show that loves to serve truth but hates being served some. Tyrus reminded them that real confidence doesn't need applause or permission. He mocked their version of tolerance, where tolerance means agreeing with the panel or being cast out, and he exposed how they treat a difference of opinion like it's contagious.
Joy's gonna say she's never heard of carbs. Seriously, her denial of knowing me is as believable as her red hair. But obsession? I mean, come on, Joy. Where would you even get that idea? Like Joy Behar's face, it's looking worse and worse by the day. More full of crap than Joy Behar after a night of scotch and Taco Bell. Her being named Joy is like me being named ugly. Joy wasn't there on the show. Apparently Mondays are her.
You could almost hear the collective gasp from the audience as they realized that maybe, just maybe, the Emperor wasn't wearing any clothes. Whoopi's response was predictable, the sigh, the head tilt, that veteran "here we go again" posture. But behind all the theatrics, there was quiet frustration, because for once, someone had called them out and done it better than they could handle. The brilliance of Tyrus's roast was in its restraint. He didn't try to dominate the moment. He simply let the truth do the heavy lifting. Every calm jab hit harder than a scream ever could. Suddenly, their monologues sounded like weak rebuttals, and their laughter felt a little too forced. Because Tyrus had done the unthinkable, he made The View look small just by staying calm. He joked in that low-key, brutally funny way about how the show's biggest achievement is making daytime TV feel like jury duty, a punishment disguised as conversation. And the best part was that he didn't even need to name names. Everyone already knew who he was talking about. That's when you know the truth has landed, when denial isn't even an option. From there, the internet took over, with clips of Whoopi's signature eye rolls stitched next to Tyrus's calm, knowing smirk.
Out of some news, the feral monsters of The View say they've never heard of you-know-who. True, the show that makes mornings hell claim that my name doesn't ring a bell. It's time for...
Our view on The View. Ugh.
Yeah, the witch's coven finally shows me some lovin'. Yesterday on The View, yours truly was the subject of conversation. Apparently, the broads have no idea who I am, or so they say.
The contrast was hilarious, like watching a storm rage at a mountain. Even people who had never watched The View started tuning in just to see what the fuss was about. That's when you know a roast worked, when it revives the very thing it mocks, but not in the way it hoped. By the end of the week, it wasn't even about Tyrus anymore. It was about what he exposed, the fake outrage, the contradictions, the "we speak for everyone" attitude that somehow always leaves half the audience out. He had flipped the mirror, and The View didn't like what it saw. Whoopi, in her usual calm, then chaotic rhythm, tried to brush it off, but her tone said everything Tyrus had hit a nerve. He just wanted to remind them that real conversation doesn't need cue cards or emotional theatrics. Sometimes, all it takes is someone brave enough to say, "You sound ridiculous." The mic drop moment came when he summed up their whole vibe without breaking a sweat, calling The View what it's always secretly been, a round table of contradictions running on caffeine and moral superiority. Whoopi's face said it all. She didn't even need to reply. The silence was louder than any comeback. It was one of those rare moments when someone outside the bubble cracked the fourth wall, and everyone inside pretended not to see the break.
It was a 7.
Joy Behar calls her a 10. I mean, how dare she objectify a woman with a sexist rating system, but it's such a typical thing from a 1.5.
Because that's what makes Tyrus's calm so dangerous. It forces you to actually hear yourself. In the end, The View did what it always does best, pretending nothing happened. but everyone else knew something had changed. The magic trick didn't work anymore. The curtain had slipped, and behind it wasn't empowerment or enlightenment, it was just noise. Tyrus had walked through their self-made storm untouched, proving that sometimes the most powerful voice in the room is the one that doesn't need to yell. And that's the beauty of it. His roast wasn't cruel, it was clear. Deep down, Whoopi knew it too. Somewhere out there, Tyrus had calmly dismantled her empire with the ease of a man who doesn't even break a sweat. That's what made it the perfect ending. Not noise, not applause, just silence. The kind of silence that says, he won. Because in the comedy of modern talk shows, sometimes the funniest line is the one that leaves everyone speechless. And Tyrus didn't need to say much. He just let the truth sit there, smirking. Of course, The View couldn't let it end there. The next week, they came back acting like they'd moved on, but every topic somehow circled back to certain people spreading negativity. It was classic damage control disguised as deep thought. You could see the tension in Whoopi's half smile, that mix of frustration and denial that says, "We're fine," when everyone knows they're not. The panel tried to keep things light, joking their way through uncomfortable moments, but the spark was gone. Every laugh sounded a little forced, every line a little too careful. The internet noticed immediately. Viewers clipped moments where Whoopi avoided saying Tyrus's name, turning it into a running joke, he who must not be named but definitely got to her. Even people who never watched the show were now tuning in, not for the debate, but for the drama that came after. Tyrus had turned The View into a meme, and nothing stings more than becoming the punchline of your own performance. While the panel struggled to keep control of their image, Tyrus stayed silent, the kind of silence that drives critics insane because it leaves them talking to themselves. It wasn't just a roast anymore, it was a lesson. He'd proven that calm confidence beats forced outrage every single time. The View tried to reclaim the narrative, but the more they spoke, the clearer it became that Tyrus had taken something they couldn't get